Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell of St. Xavier's College, Autonomous Kolkata, it is with great pleasure that I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. It is with the utmost honor, privilege, and gratitude that I introduce to you a visionary leader, Ms.Shubhangi Madan. With over a decade of expertise, she is a leading authority in crafting and refining personal brands for creative individuals, leaders, and businesses. As the co founder of the People Company, Shubhangi epitomizes the vision and dedication required to navigate the intricacies of the online world. The People Company, under her guidance, excels in offering meticulously researched and data driven strategies tailored to help individuals and businesses grow on social media platforms and generate high quality leads. Beyond her digital expertise, Shubhangi is a captivating public speaker known for inspiring and educating audiences on the power of branding and effective social media utilization. Today, she generously shares her invaluable knowledge and experiences acquired over years of dedicated work in the realm of personal branding. We are extremely thankful to you, ma'am, for taking time out of your busy schedule for a session with us. On behalf of everyone at EDC, I extend my best wishes to all participants for an insightful learning experience during this session. I now hand over the virtual podium to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the invitation and the lovely introduction. I'm really glad to be here. And today I'll be talking about one of the most life-changing things that has ever happened to me, which was freelancing. So I think most of you are in your undergrad and postgrad right here. And I was a student like you, and I was really confused around what I want to pursue next. So that's where I came across freelancing, because it somehow was an amalgamation of all my core skills at once. And that's how my journey began. So today I want to not just tell you my story, but also want to give you some actionable insights around how you can also start freelancing. The rate at which the freelancing jobs are increasing in India and the acceptance that is growing is massive. And in the near future, like at least 3 out of 5 people would be freelancing either in the part-time basis, on a side, or as a full-time thing as well. So I think freelancing has a huge scope in India because, we have the most young population, we have talented people, and we also outsource our services globally. So I think it has a lot of potential from the monetary aspect, from the aspects of working with people of different nationalities and like getting your country out there. So I have a small presentation for you, but I don't want you to be too much in the text. So I'll be sharing everything with my story, how I went on. And I would want to make it a little bit of an interactive session. So I will really appreciate if you could, just add in questions in the chat meanwhile, and I'll pick up questions and answer them whatsoever is relevant with the slideshow, so that every point is expressed in a way where you can get the maximum ROI out of it. So I'll start sharing my screen. Any questions prior to that for my journey or anything, you can just shoot it and we'll cover it. Yeah. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's perfectly visible.
Yeah, great. So today we'll be talking about the infinite power of freelancing. And to my surprise, most of the successful freelancers that I have as friends and in the industry that I look up to are also from West Bengal. So that is a surprising factor. People are generally talented. There's a large volume of students who come from there who are very good at freelancing and are very good at customer service also, which is a integral part of this whole process. Some of my team members are also from there. So in fact, I had somebody from your college in my team recently. So that's also a plus. Yeah. So the infinite power of freelancing, there's no cap to the capacity that you can come out as a freelancer, because then you're the creator of your own career in that area. But there are a lot of things that you need to be careful also about. So let's just dive in. I'll tell you my story. So I started social media marketing very early on when I was 15 years old, and I started to put out. I started to search for clients, work, research, and build strategies. This was like the pre-geo era. So the internet was expensive, and everybody was not really interested in getting volumes of likes for their businesses. It was not a mainstream thing back then. Then the geo revolution came in, and that's when the internet became very cheap. And that's how I hopped onto my journey. I started with YouTube, I started creating content. I was doing multiple things, juggling my school and college along with it. And after 3 to 4 good years, I made my first penny on working online. And that's how my journey began. So there was a lot of hit and trial that I did because I did not have a lot of guidance in that regard. That's when I started to build my brand on LinkedIn, started to write on LinkedIn, and that's where I got majority of my clients from. So freelancing for me was an accidental career because I was on a verge of deciding whether I should go ahead for further studies after completing my bachelor's, or should I do something which is a direct path to something greater. I did not wanted to get into jobs. I was very sure about it. Either I wanted to get into content creation because I saw a lot of potential in this field, or I wanted to get into freelancing. So once I got my first client, I realized that I really enjoy doing this work, like talking to multiple people and serving them. That was my forte. I was genuinely authentically good at understanding what gaps people feel and how to serve them in that area. Marketing was my first love always. I used to love reading marketing books, and I used to love writing as well. So that came naturally. That's how I started my LinkedIn journey. And within like 3 years, I was able to build a 6-figure agency, slowly like reaching to 7 figures in personal branding. And we are a team of 15 people. So something that I never thought I could do, I was able to do that because of the power of freelancing and the power of networking. You can never create a company standalone. So I also met my co-founder, who's very skilled in team building and managing the entire operations. So that's how I built my company. So everything started to fall into place like multiple pieces of a puzzle from time to time. And then this happened, the people company happened. So everything was on the way. Nothing was too much decided. I always wanted to do an MBA when I was like 11, 12, 13, but then all of this happened. And that's how I became an entrepreneur. And to I started my marketing agency. And that's a bit of background. I operated as a freelancer for 2 to 3 good years before starting out my own agency because the volume of projects was super duper high. And I needed more people to help me in fulfilling those needs and doing that. So that is broadly my freelancing journey. So I started to earn like when I was 16 because of the freelancing and everything. I used to write articles, and then I used to design also. Then once I got good understanding of various industries like pharmaceuticals, fintechs, I started to give consultations also. And that's how I evolved as a freelancer. So when you step into freelancing, you don't know what should I offer. They always tell you that you should have one good skill. So I also entered without a skill, like a very low level skill, which was writing at that time when you don't know how refined it can get. But over time, I refined my skills, packaged them well, and stood out as a freelancer on the platform as well. I'll also tell you a lot of things that people generally don't talk about, which is very important and which makes your journey easy as a freelancer. So we'll move ahead and I'll cover that in the later half. I'll quickly check the chat if there are any questions. Okay. So for a lot of people, they don't have an idea about freelancing because they always were fixated with the idea of taking a job. So freelancing is giving out your best skills to multiple people and working for multiple people at one point in time with no almost very less security that they'll work for you for a very long time if you don't have contracts in place. So at once you can work with 10 people if you want to only work with a particular skill. So they don't decide who else you work with. So freelancing is kind of a free zoned thing where you share your skills to multiple people, but there are a lot of pros and cons and a lot of conditions applied. But for a person who who is just very new to the idea, it is like you can work with multiple companies, multiple organizations, multiple individuals at one point in time, giving them the best skills that you have, giving them the service, right? So the benefit of freelancing are a lot. Like there are a lot of benefits. Of course, it is good money. It is a lot of freedom, flexibility. It gives you a lot of respect in terms of people who already know what it is and how it is to be like a freelancer. Another benefit that I feel of freelancing is that you actually get to work in the real world. So right out of college, when I did my undergrad, I was really confused. And a lot of people told me that if you directly jump into a post-graduation course, you might not really understand the application of it in the real job market. So if you're a student outside of your undergrad, you can try your hands at freelancing because it will give you first-hand experience of working with people and with organization, and that fixes a lot of loopholes, right? So that is one big benefit of freelancing in my eyes. So the agenda of this session, as I mentioned earlier, is to give you actionable insight. So I would just want to ask, is there any difficulty in understanding what is freelancing, or like what is the benefit, just to set up the ground, and then we can do a deep dive? Anyone? You can just write in the chats, no, yes. How many of you have already operated as a freelancer? Because I'm sure most of you might have done some kind of a gig. I can't see any messages in the chat. Are you guys typing? Good, good, good. All right, just one person. That's good. So the key characteristics are very basic. You work for multiple people. You can give multiple services or multiple skills you can offer. There's a lot of freedom and flexibility. So in terms of when we talk about freedom and flexibility, it has two sides like anything. Freedom and flexibility also sometimes makes us overestimate or underestimate our own timings. A lot of college students, when they take freelancing gigs, it's a generous advice to you: always estimate the time you want to put out there, right? These things are not going anywhere, but pushing yourself way too hard is also not the best thing to do. Of course, it gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility, but at times you're the only and the last person to be accountable for that project. So make sure you have the bandwidth. Always break down your projects into simpler and easier tasks to understand what is the exact and the genuine time that is going to get into that task. So that ways you'll be able to navigate the entire freedom and flexibility point. There's a lot of debate that has happened on social media that freelancing is the best thing to do, and it gives you a lot of freedom, flexibility. Yes, to a point, but if you want to stand or get into that top 1% of freelancers or even scale as an agency, then you need to compromise on the freedom and flexibility part a bit, because then you're trying to be the best of the best. But if you want to hang out and take like 1 to 2, 3 projects in a month, then yeah, you can like manage it with your time. Wide range of freelancing industries are there. You can freelance almost in all the industries right now in India, like in India and abroad, like design, writing, consulting, personal branding, softwares. Everywhere they are hiring freelancers because they know that these are the people with good skills, right? And these are the people who will work on project basis, and there are no strings attached. Recent layoffs have taught us that we all should have some skills that we can sell on freelancing basis as well, because sometimes organizations don't want to indulge in hiring a full-time resource because there are no requirements, but project-wise requirements are always there. So if you have a skill that you can sell through the freelancing medium to multiple people, that is a plus. Also, another point that a lot of people find it very difficult to decide what do I sell. So you have to explore at least for a year. You should explore different things. So when I started out, I explored design, I explored funnel designing, I explored paid marketing, I explored writing, and then I somehow really fell in love with organic marketing. That's when I doubled down. Until date, my agency is only providing organic marketing. We don't even do paid ads right now, because for anything to scale up really fast, you need to have the subject knowledge, good knowledge of the subject. So organic marketing became my forte. So don't be too much rigid in experimenting on what could be your potential area where you can give the best of your abilities. Don't become too rigid. Don't set up these high income goals in the first or the second month. You can do that, but initially you should explore and then slowly niche down, because this world where people are saying that you can make a lakh in like 2 months. Yes, you can make a lakh in 2 months. That's not a big deal. But sustaining that lakh is a big deal. If you don't know what you're very good at, or if you don't know this is what you want to do for the rest of your freelancing career, then you might stand at a place where you're very confused in next 6 months. So believe me, explore in the initial stages where you have less risk, where you are not too much attached to the lifestyle that your freelancing career has gotten you. You can experiment a lot, and always be aware that nothing in the freelancing term is for free, guys. This is a myth. You have to work, you have to put in the work. Even if you're hiring a team and delegating, it is not free. You have to put in the efforts. So before you set up the income goal, set up the number of hours you're going to give to your freelancing business, right? Don't set up unrealistic expectations which eventually lead to frustration and then people quit. So there are a lot of freelancers joining in every day. Everybody's excited about freelancing. It's something that you do on the internet and everybody's like, I want to do it. But only a few people are able to sustain it because they had the right reasons to start and they had a strong mindset. So this should not go unignored. You should think about money later and your skill first. Otherwise, you're for a very short period of time in this business, because you should add value to other people's business, right? So this just a disclaimer kind of a thing that I wanted to tell you, because in my consultations, this is the mindset shift that I ask my students to make. You can of course reach to clients worldwide. A lot of people find resources which are not that expensive in India, so they work with them. Sometimes they find people who are more responsive and better at their work, so they hire people from India. You can pretty much overcome like barriers like of geography. You can like work with anyone, so that intent ends up being chance for increased opportunities. But with this information, there's also a lot of increased competition. Now, you know that you can get a client from USA. I know that I can get a client from USA. So between two freelancers are fighting to get a client from the USA and the same client, how will they reach there? The person with the better portfolio, the person with the better communication skills, the person with a better response rate will win over the other. And believe me, your competition in next 2 years is not going to be the people from UK. It's going to be the person in the next lane, because that's how the number of freelancers are growing in India, right? So you need to be better in terms of the case studies, in terms of what results you've produced. That is why I'm telling you that experiment a lot with your niche in the start, so that once everybody has exhausted their initial 6 months of freelancing making bugs, and now they're confused, what niche should I pick to like open an agency or scale it even further? You know that this is one thing that I can scale to, let's say $10 million. I can scale this agency to that level. So experimentation is the advantage that you can have over the other freelancers in the initial days of your career, where you're not too much used to things. And having an open brain for learning is really important in this area, right? I'll just quickly, how do you see? Yes, so this is one topic that we'll cover in the later stages of this presentation. That's a very valid point, and I think we should cover it. Anything related to this, any questions related to this, any mindset question also you can ask. Like, I feel really desperate to hit my first 50K month, or I'm really tired of hearing this. Any mindset related question also, guys, you can shoot. I would love to like clear that as well, because I think most people feel really challenged in this freelancing thing because they're not sure about what mindset they need to pick up. So I think I read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and it impacted me genuinely. Before I was starting and I was trying to hit my first 1 lakh month, I read that book and it somehow shifted my mindset from being greedy about the results to being at peace and still working with them. And I still believe in manifestation. It somehow works for me. So I read that book. Nothing direct on freelancing because that would make me even more desperate. So I read that book for mindset. Apart from that, I read another book on mindset, which was Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday. And it was also a very good book to keep me at peace because I was already actively working. Sometimes we don't realize we don't have to push it even further. We just have to relax and let things fall into place for us as well. So that's where I got the most advantageous thing in my career, which was patience at that point. So those two books for mindset. For resources, I always read case studies. If I want to enter into a project, or let's say if I want to grow a pharmaceutical company's Instagram page by 10,000 followers in 6 months, I would always deep dive into case studies that you can easily find on the internet who have done it in a similar industry. I read articles because that's where you get the most actionable knowledge from, right? That is something. Do you have any strategies for maintaining a work-life balance as a freelancer? Um, do you want me to answer it as a freelancer and student, or like a full-time freelancer? Yeah, you can quickly tell me that. I'll answer for both as a freelancer and student.
As a student, ma'am, please. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So recently I told you there was somebody in my team from, from a college and all. And of course, you have a hard time, like, because you're in college since morning to evening. So always be mindful of picking the right client, right? It's not about the number of projects. You can literally pick one client for as much as you get 3-4 clients for. Just pick the right client, serve them better, and retain them for a longer period of time. And also have your pipeline always filled. Do the lead generation tasks every week so that you don't have a dry pipeline and you don't become desperate and start to do everything, right? So more than the number of projects, having the right kind of client matters. Don't see, in the freelancing world, one bad thing that happens with almost everyone is there are a lot of red flag clients. So nothing can disturb you as much as a wrong client who doesn't respect your boundaries. Always being honest that, okay, I'm also part-time student and this is like the other part-time thing that I'm doing is not bad. You can always tell them about your, functionalities, how you're going, how your day looks like and everything. Second, don't set unrealistic expectations with yourself and with the client as well. Don't take too many projects in greed because see, it's very easy to feel that I can manage it. It happens with everyone. If you're getting people and inquiries, it's very easy to say that I can manage. But at the end of the day, when it comes to you, it's very hard to do it. Either have a plan to delegate it, or if you don't have space, don't over promise and under deliver. And again, for maintaining, I don't think that would be honest for me to answer this because I really understand how dynamic college days are. So to the best, if I step into your shoes and if I think, I would always limit the number of projects I'm taking because that will give me mental peace and then I can actually work on things that matter. So maximum, I would, if I'm in your shoes, I would take 2 projects maximum, 2 good quality projects which pay me above, let's say, $500 to $1,000 each project. And then I'm done. Like in that also, I can hit my 1 lakh month, right? So 2 good quality projects and like retention based clients, like who can be retained for a longer period of time. I would sign with them. I would sign a 3-month or a 6-month contract with them. And that's how I would run it, so that I am rest assured that this person is there with me for next 3 to 6 months. So I would not work on panicking and getting more clients. Sometimes freelancers don't realize that they actually don't have the bandwidth of work to work with so many clients, but they're doing everything left, right, and center to make it possible to have 1,000 leads. Oh my God, you don't need 1,000 leads. You just need 10 leads and you have to convert 1 out of it, right? Volume game you should not play. You should play quality game when you are short on time. So if I am at your place, I would have picked 2 clients and I would sign a contract with them, book them for 3 to 6 months, give them best quality service so that they refer me to the next 2, right? And they don't even leave me after 6 months. So that should be the goal. Servicing should be the goal. And always having a passive pipeline of people who are coming and inquiring, which could be a word of mouth thing, which could be a thing where they are coming and checking your personal brand. Personal branding is a very good strategy while you're in college to like automate a lot of lead generation for yourself. So that's how I would think when I am in college. But if I'm a full-time freelancer, then this is my bread and butter. This is everything that I do for a living. Then I would give my all in, like whatever it takes to set up systems and to move things in place, because then I'm the master of my own time. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your enlightening response.
Yeah. Okay, so we covered this point. Income variability is a big challenge. We don't talk about this enough because we start early and nobody in house at home is expecting us to earn, and that's how we start earning. But somehow I have seen established people who are making good 1 to 2 lakh rupees a month come down to zero. Anytime you stop watering this freelancing plant, it can go dry. You never know. And there's no signs, or sometimes people say we saw no signs that this client would leave us. But then at the end of the day, you don't have any security. But how I navigate this question is, with the recent layoffs, nobody has any security in anything, almost anything now. So the only thing which will help you enhance your freelancing journey even more is, regardless of anything, what are the plan daily? That should be your responsibility. Put in efforts, strengthen your content system, strengthen your lead generation system, strengthen your client servicing systems every single day, and automate major part of your business. So that as a student also, if somebody is manually doing it in 100 hours, you can do it in 10 hours with automation. So become smarter, get your hands on softwares like ClickUp, for example, Notion, which genuinely make your life very easy. Canva, these should be on your fingertips, because guys, we are not realizing, but with this AI revolution and with the volume of people entering into the freelancing world every single day, what we were doing before will become the new normal. So we got to do it either faster or better. Otherwise, there's no place in the market, right? That's how the competition works. So income variability will always be there. So the only way to fight with this challenge is get results, get very good results for your clients, talk to them. So what I do in my business, from 20th to 30th of the month, I go on calls with my clients and I ask this question: should I count you in for next 3 months? Should I count you in for the next month? What is your feedback? And most of the times when I ask this, I am rest assured, right? I am not in that limbo, whether they are coming or whether they are not there. So with the clients that I have contract for, I am rest assured. But whatever contract is coming to an end, I always ask them and give them an extension. Because if I'm not sure whether I'm surviving the next month, I can barely grow. I need that mental peace. So income variability, if you want to beat, you should have good contracts in place. You should have, again, a good leads pipeline. You should have inquiries. Even when I don't have time to like get clients or like service them in that month, I always tell them, you can book me right now and I can start a work in next 30 days because right now I'm booked, like completely booked. So this way also, a lot of clients book my service, they respect my timeline, and they're ready to begin like 30 days after. So you have to take charge of how your business is running. Of course, be very considerate about what are their requirements if they want it immediately, but also take charge and put yourself in a position of authority where you tell them that that's how I operate, right? So income variability can be managed. Plus, a very important point, from not from the freelancing perspective, but also from the perspective of life. If your business, if a freelancing business went above 20K, like you were making 20K and this month you made 60K. So you don't have to live on 60K. You have to live on the 20K only, because next month you don't know if you'll again make 60K, right? So the lifestyle expansion, bring it later on. Otherwise, the more you expand your lifestyle, the lesser risk you can take and the less you can try, test, and win. So, so a lot of my friends ask me, I'm from Gwalior, it is a small town in Madhya Pradesh. A lot of my friends ask, why are you not moving out? Why are you not doing this? A lot of freelancers. I was like, why? Like, what's the reason of doing that? Like, I have almost zero reasons. I can get into these good colleges, talk to people, impact them, and I can talk to clients. Everything that I'll do, even if I move to Bombay or to Gurgaon or to Bangalore, I do on my screen only. I'm getting home cooked food. So I'm not saying that moving out is not important. It helps you grow. But I got this entire portion of the top floor of my house all by myself. I pay rent to my parents. Then it is like it comes back to zero. Now there's no need. Don't do unnecessary lifestyle expansion until and unless you're very sure that this amount of money will come into my account. Even if it doesn't come, I am capable of paying this or doing that. So unnecessary increase in your expenses should be avoided in the first 3 years of your freelancing at any cost. Otherwise, you'll kill your own business. And this, a lot of people will never tell you, but a lot of your freelancing business works like how your relationship works. If you don't take care of it in the initial stages, it will not work out in the later stages, guys. So you have to be mindful of not expanding your lifestyle. So it's not like, okay, I made like 50K in this month, let me go and buy a new iPhone 15 Pro. Okay, that should not be your mindset. Your mindset should be, I will do this 50K for next 6 months and then I'll reward myself with an iPhone. Always reward yourself, because you are the only person who will channelize the energy in the right direction in your business. Everything is you dependent. So you have to keep yourself disciplined, and you have to make the right choices. Also enhance a lot of instinctive traits in yourself so that you don't kill your own business in the later stages, right? So that's one thing that you need to be mindful about. Strategies for maximizing earnings. Again, a very good lead generation pipeline, very good customer service that you should offer. Don't over promise and under deliver. Do the other way around. Or if you don't want to do that, just do what you promised. That is also more than enough. That then also people like really like you and they refer you. So that's something. Always maintain data. Which client worked with me for how many months? Why did they leave? If it was a problem on their end, or was it a problem on my end? Reflect back, and that's how you enhance. So when you have data, you also have an understanding what sort of clients you want to work with, right? I'll quickly check the chat. So if you're a complete beginners, work with a few beta clients that give you good case studies, and then when you're approaching this pricing mechanism, there's an internal freelancing world thing. They go and check on Upwork, they go and check on Fiverr, that what are people charging, because these are a few platforms where there are commercials. And a lot of people also get their friends or somebody go out and ask other freelancers for their proposals, becoming the client. So that's an unethical way, but this is also something that a lot of people do. They make their friends or some family member go to the other renowned freelancer to get their commercials and get an idea. So that also I have heard that a lot of people do. So that is something where you can like start out, and you also have a gut feeling. So guys, I'll be very honest, a lot of people tell 100 things, but first project I charged 10,000 rupees for like managing their entire LinkedIn. That was the price. And I ran it for 6 months because I was not very confident. I'll be very honest. I was like, who pays you to like run their LinkedIn? I was in that mindset. And this entire mindset thing came later on. Then I gave them results and they started to make like good 50, 60K from my services by expanding their business. That's when I realized, okay, I was contributing to their business in the right direction. Then I enhanced my knowledge and then I started to get more leads. So also in the start, if you're very underconfident, it is more important to get a few clients, right? And enhance your brand presence. And then you can increase the price per project till a point where you understand the dynamics of pricing in the industry, right? So don't go so much, oh my God, somebody will betray me. Oh my God, if somebody exploits me. You should also be very, like if you go around right now and charge $1,000 and you're not sure about whether you should be paid $1,000, that will be a very difficult situation for you to navigate. But if you're confident that you're providing value for $500 and you can confidently execute that project, then you should do it for once. Don't become too much, oh my God, if I get exploited, which has become the notion of this industry. Get a little thick skin because that's how the world works. And I'm really sorry to break a lot of myths here, but that's the truth. So just also navigate if it is something that you believe in yourself, or if some expert told you, no, go charge $2,000, because that's not how pricing works. You should be confident in the price that you're charging. And at the same time, please try to not be arrogant. Okay. And always leave a little bit of room for negotiation. Always. Because what happens in the deal, nobody tells that, upfront, but in all the deals worldwide, there should be a little bit of room for negotiation, because people do that. In my career of like 4 or 5 years, I have seen every single person expecting a little bit of room for execution. So don't be too arrogant, give them that room. Either like quote the first price in that order, but leave a little bit room for negotiation. That is absolutely fine. How is the client trajectory when we start with freelancing? How does the conversion change eventually? I didn't quite get this question. Can you please like ask it verbally?
Yeah, ma'am. The question is from the chat box, how is the client trajectory like when we start freelancing during our initial days? And how does the conversion change eventually? Like, how does it change when we move on?
Conversion in what sense? Conversion in what sense are we talking about here?
From the conversion of our incomes and when we earn from a student stage to professional stage.
Like, how do we ask them to like change our packaging or pricing? Like, how to charge more from the same client?
Yeah, how do we grow as in a career in freelancing, like from time to time as we move from student to a professional?
All right. So if I I'll just repeat the question in a simpler way and just tell me if this is something right I have understood. So how do we charge more from the same client if we've transitioned from being a student to a full-time freelancer and we can contribute more, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So in that case, if you were like a part-time person and now you're available full-time, first of all, communicate. Second, be passively there and understand what more gaps you can fill into their business, because the same person would never pay you psychologically also more for something that they were getting, for less. If they were getting it done in 30,000 rupees, why would they pay 60 for it, right? So if you want to charge more, find broader loopholes or package your services better. So the best package that I sell is like 360-degree personal branding, in which I do their YouTube, I do their LinkedIn, Instagram, I do consultation, I help them set up an in-house team. I also help them consulting the overall ad structures and how the things are going to get. So if you can package your services better, it is definitely going to help you a lot in charging more from the same client. So you have to also bring more value to the table, right? In that case, you can simply ask them, I would want to get on a call and discuss the further expansion for your business, since I am now available for more time and I would want to contribute more. And then you can just show them a PowerPoint presentation on how your strategies can impact various aspects of their business. And that's how you can pitch them. So that would be the best way.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wise answer.
Yeah, thank you. That's really good, Dia. In fact, I also gifted my mom an iPhone, and it really somehow is a fulfilling feeling. I'm just saying that in the start of your career, don't get the shiny object syndrome. I think you might have worked for a very long time. Since you're working from 16, you had fair share of experiences. So that justifies your case. But to a person who's just started, I would not advise taking that level of financial responsibility in the first 1-2 months of their journey. And yeah, so basically, it's good that you were able to earn like in 6 figures. If you want to grow more, grow your personal brand. On Instagram also, you should have a good personal brand, since you're in a niche where personal branding can become a direct pipeline of getting more clients. So make a stronger personal brand on Instagram. Instagram is your place. Instagram is where your audience is hanging out, and that will help you out in expanding and getting more clients. So Instagram, you should have a goal, take various reel courses, understand how the platform works, and get to like 50K, 100K. Because my sister hit like 100K in 6 months. She was like, she got really viral. She's a photographer, and I've seen it happen in front of my eyes for a lot of my clients. It is easy, it is possible. Just figure out your niche, do good storytelling, and you'll be able to get there. If you have an audience on Instagram, you'll have more sales. That is for sure. How do you stay updated on industry trends and freelance best practices? So right now I have an agency. So I do agency best practices. I've subscribed to a lot of newsletters. Before that, when I was a freelancer, of course, a lot of freelancing newsletters that I thought had a lot of value, but it has been like 2 years since I've not done that. Right now, it's more of an agency setup kind of a thing. So I follow agency owners more and stay updated on industry trends. Industry trends for my clients, I have news applications. I have a team who does the research and everything. For my own self, I use social media to like understand, consume content. I hear a lot of podcasts. So that is pretty much it. I don't have a really fancy system, but I try to do these things consistently. But overall, the principles of business don't change. So I also read, and that's my basic content consumption bucket. Yes. So now we'll talk about learning. Like I have also faced this problem where I was not able to learn actively in my freelancing and in my agency model, because sometimes you just don't get time. But somehow I have figured out of getting 3 to 4 hours in a week where I learn, and I have segregated and blocked time for learning. I take various courses. Right now I'm working with a coach who's helping me expand and get into coaching and learning various business skills even better. So I am a person who needs somebody to be accountable to, so I have hired a coach because my schedule was getting packed. But if you really want to have that continuous learning factor, you should block time on your calendar, either on weekends or on weekdays for 30 minutes to 1 hour. In that time you should know what you're going to learn. So constantly taking courses about small aspects of social media has helped me gain much better knowledge. Sometimes I take course on, copywriting to enhance it even more. Sometimes I take course on reels to understand how reels are functioning and small aspects. So I reinvest a lot in my learning. So I think continuous learning is that one thing which is directly proportional to your growth as a freelancer or as a marketing person also. You have to learn constantly, and this is pretty much applicable in all the fields looking to the growth and the changes in technology at the pace at which we are changing. So that is something that I do. Enhancement is also very important. For example, a very small thing that I would tell you, one of my freelancer friends worked with 6 clients, but they did not make their portfolio after working with 6 clients because they had a personal brand. They were getting the inquiries, but they were charging them pennies because they did not have a proper portfolio to charge more. Because when you have something in place that you show and you explain, people are bound to think of you as a serious person. That is very basic. So that's when I pushed them to like get a portfolio then, and then they were able to charge just double in next 3 months, right? So enhancing your skills, enhancing your IP is very important. Enhancing your pitch decks, enhancing your portfolio from time to time, adding case studies, all of these things are really important. Lastly, staying competitive is important. Sometimes you might feel that you did everything that you wanted to do. This feeling also happens. It will happen to a lot of you if you follow this path in 1 to 2 years. So you have to also externally try to be competitive, because sometimes when you've reached where you set your foot out to reach, you become demotivated. Like, next what? So you should always have a next goal, a bigger goal that you want to achieve. And that goal should also, you should be self-motivated for that, because nothing else can like get you there. Yeah, any questions on this? On skill enhancement, continuous learning, anything. And for learning, I've also set up a system which really works out for me. So like I try to read 20 to 30 pages every day. I try to watch one podcast through which I'm learning something, and I've stopped being too rigid. Like, this learning can fall in any part of my day, so that I am not too rigid and I'm not making it a big deal for me. So having everything proper, I've stopped doing that. And whenever I find time, I just do small things. And that's how my learning goes, because sometimes it's really hard to find time for learning. For work-life balance, like, a lot of people have this question, like the one we took lastly, that how do freelancers have a work-life balance? Sometimes they don't. Like, I work in multiple time zones, and sometimes it is very difficult for me to have that balance, because I'm also in a meeting at 11 p.m. in the night because that time zone suits somebody. I'm also in a meeting at 11 a.m. in the morning because that time zone suits my Indian clients. So what I have figured out in this case is that I block out days in my calendar that I don't work on. It's completely blocked. Nobody can book a meeting. I can't work. And other days my co-founder has booked out. So having a strong team has really helped me in finding some sort of balance in my in my working and in my functionality. Still, so work-life balance is a concept where you're walking on a rope. You can't really balance it, but every time you stand still, you feel that you've got it. But then you get imbalanced again. So you can just strive to get there and make better systems, but it doesn't really you don't really get 100% there ever. Of course, there are benefits of flexible schedules as a freelancer. If you're only operating in a single time zone, that is a very good thing, because then you know that you have to work in these hours and then you're done. Of course, you should look ahead in running for longer and not just running for a shorter period of time and getting exhausted. So avoiding burnout is really important. Getting some sort of refreshment is very important. So whenever my day ends, I watch like 2 episodes of any series that I'm currently watching. That is like a shutdown for me, where I know, okay, I can relax and I can take it slow from there on. So that sort of, you can avoid burnout. You can do something that you like. Of course, don't, in this entire freelancing thing, initially 6 to 12 months, you need to put all in. I also gave my all in. I used to work weekends. I used to figure out on weekends. But once I got a little stabilized, once I started to work full time and had an agency, I started to exclude Sundays, and Sundays are like non-working. Absolutely. Otherwise, I was working 7 days. So once you have a system set up, you can avoid that burning out thing for sure. Otherwise, what happens is, so there was this thing written on my desk: if you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. And if you genuinely don't want to give up, don't push yourself to the edge. Give yourself enough room to rest whenever it comes from within. Yeah. Now, the most important piece of the puzzle. A lot of people, can you name a few very big names that are your inspiration in the industry? I'll tell you some eye-opening facts about it, and then I will tell you a mindset technique that will help you differentiate yourself from them and begin your journey with a fresh mindset. Big names in the industry that are absolutely, you look up to them, and you just want to be like them. All right. From India, if you could give people who are revolutionizing the freelancing world. All right. Anyone else? So any big creator, any big freelancing name who are either teaching freelancing or have done freelancing or talking about freelancing in India are people who had huge personal brands or are people who have made huge personal brands. So why did they? So the people were doing digital marketing before this entire freelancing revolution also, na? How were they getting clients? They were getting clients from Facebook groups. They were getting clients from cold pitching. But when this personal branding bit came into place and people actively started to talk about it, getting clients became easier for them. Because on my LinkedIn, if you go and see, I get 50,000 organic views almost every day, right? So I'm reaching out to 50,000 people almost every day. So the chances of getting two right people from that 50,000 who would come and ask me, can you give me personal branding services or can you do Facebook ads for me, are very high, right? A lot of people don't confess that having a brand makes it 50% easier for you to get into freelancing and to sustain freelancing, because that's where you get a solid leads pipeline. A lot of friends who scale to 6 figures USD, 7 figures USD have never cold pitched. This is a fact. Most of their initial 6-figure takka they've got from their personal brand. So when you compare yourself to somebody who is doing, oh my God, 3 lakh rupees in a month and like going on vacations and all, you have to go back and check how are they getting clients, because the entire success metric of this is defined on how good inquiries you're getting and how are you getting. If you're getting 2 inquiries by sending 500 emails and you're getting same 2 inquiries passively to your brand, of course that is easier, right? So in that case, don't compare yourself and look at their process. Even if you're getting and looking at somebody who's doing wonderful, you should always have an analytical brain around what are they doing better than me, what is working out for them, and what is their strategy, what is the behind the scenes of their game. That's how you understand. So break down the success of these people. That's how you'll understand and you'll scale and get there. Personal branding tips are very basic. Basic ones, जो हर कोई कहता है, being authentic, being consistent, be yourself. Like have a fixed posting schedule, have a fixed time, pick a niche. The honest personal branding tip initially for 1 month, 1 to 2 months, don't fool yourself. Nobody cares if you start writing golden content. If they can't see you, they'll not care about you. So initially focus on producing relatable content, scale your brand, get a few thousand views, and then write content that is golden. Because see, there's also this one thing. In 2021, if you would have observed Instagram pe everywhere there was this carousel which was teaching about Instagram. Do you remember that time? Instagram ke that in that search field, every time there was a carousel, 10 things you should do on Instagram, 10 viral hacks for Instagram just before when the reels got launched, right? So every platform is biased about the educators of the platform itself. If you go on Instagram and start teaching Instagram, you'll go viral. If you go on LinkedIn, start teaching LinkedIn, you're likely to get more attraction. If you go on Twitter and start writing about Twitter, you're likely to get more attraction. So cut this noise. Don't let this noise turn into facts. I've never seen a person talk about Facebook ads in a normal way. Like, of course, there are creators who are doing this infographics and high, heavy lifting content. They get viral because their content playbook is good. But for us who have limited time, I've never seen a write-up on Facebook go viral on LinkedIn, like a basic write-up, right? So to be honest with yourself, what kind of content you can produce, what quality you can produce, and how much time you can put. If you're short on time, you should initially start with more of tofu content, like top of the funnel content, more broad, more relatable. And once you have some people at least to hear you, you should move ahead with like the next pieces. And the people who have LinkedIn profiles with heavy connections, like having 10,000 connections, you should get rid of unnecessary connections. Stop adding unnecessary connections. Connections are not followers. A lot of people fill in LinkedIn connections, 10,000, 15,000. Don't do that. Stop doing that. It will kill your reach. Don't do that at any cost. Remove unnecessary connections. If you are above 10,000, consider starting fresh. Otherwise, your brand will have a huge setback even before beginning. Third would be building a portfolio. Portfolio is the most important part. So whenever I am hiring and I really look like want to test their skills, I always ask for portfolio, because that is where they have given their best shot, right? So having a portfolio is a no-brainer. Have a portfolio from the start, because that is a basic, and have a good one, like which justifies your expertise. So digital marketing, Niyati, is a very broad topic. You need to pick what you want to offer in digital marketing. Digital marketing, there are ads, there are funnel building, there is personal branding, there is social media management. You have to deep dive into it more. Once you know what skill you are ready to sell, you can make a mock portfolio. If you're running ads, you can run beta ads, like mock ads for someone, or you can get a client for which you can run some ads, like a beta client, unpaid clients, like your friends or somebody in your relation, and then you can take those results and make a portfolio out of those results. Also, sometimes people create case studies, hypothetical case studies, but I don't think that works out really well. So you need to get work with like one or two testimonial clients who give you testimonials and who give you some good cases. That's how you build a portfolio in the start. So आपको you have to work with a few people for free or for in exchange of a testimonial, I would say. Two is good. You can start with two. That's where you start to get paid clients. Even if they're low ticket, you start to get clients. Now, the importance of networking is immense if you're looking forward to scale. If you're somebody who's doing ads and there's somebody who's doing branding, you can combine and you can take that network effect. That's how a lot of agencies also come into place, because they meet with a need of fulfilling a project, and then they decide to operate together. Of course, operating together when you have grown to a level is a good idea, because you can bring in more business, you can set up systems, and you can automate pretty much everything. You get a lot of online and offline opportunities. Offline, you can get in cities also, there are a lot of social media management companies and agencies, but I am more inclined towards online. So with the power of networking, somebody can refer you, somebody can give your name, and that's how you can get into better projects. Building strong relationships is also important, because sometimes the project can come immediately and you need to fulfill it. So having good bond and having people in all the service sections is always advised. Having a good network helps in hiring also if you are scaling at a later stage. Now, finding freelancing work is the most like big question mark here. How do we find freelancing work? So a lot of people use Upwork, Fiverr, but they are too saturated. So for finding freelancing work, the best way in this decade is your personal brand. Build your personal brand, get more impressions regularly on your brand, get more impressions on each post, and that's how you'll become more discoverable. People will know about you and they'll ask for work. Second thing is cold emailing, cold DMing, which is a little bit of hectic task. And like for to explain that, I'll have to create a course. So cold messaging means offering them something that you're good at in a way where it doesn't look too salesy. So there's a lot of strategic science behind it that one needs to learn. I'm just listing the ways here. One is personal branding. Second is cold DM, cold mailing, cold messaging, cold calling. And then you can also get clients via word of mouth and referrals, or by somebody you have already worked with. So there are these broad ways. On basically everyone is teaching around cold DMs, cold messaging, or personal branding. So majorly two ways. Personal branding mein, what you do is you go on any social media platform and you create content with your expertise, which when gets views, people come and ask you if they need services. So personal branding, say when leads come to you on their own, this is called inbound lead generation system, Like a lead has come on its own asking for the services. When you do an email and you are reaching out to them, okay, we do this, do you need this? It is called outbound lead generation system. The closing rate of the client or the conversion is higher in inbound lead generation system for obvious reasons. Because when you need to buy something, you go to the store, you get it. But when you don't want to buy something, people come to your doorstep, you deny it, right? So it's a human tendency. When somebody is asking you that they want something, there is 90% chance that they're serious. But when you are going there, 90% chances they're not interested. But then the volume and the quality in cold messaging is higher because you select the people you want to mail. But the quality in inbound leads is lower because they select who they want to message. It could be a lead of 10,000 rupees, it could be a lead of $20,000, right? So it is very tentative, it is not reliable. Inbound lead generation system is not reliable. Outbound lead generation system is reliable, but the conversion rate is very low. I think this would have been a lot of information for you all. So you can shoot questions on this and then we'll move forward. All right, I don't think here we have any questions. Okay. Sustaining clients again, sometimes people get clients, they get leads, either they have problem in converting them or sustaining them. So we'll come to the sustaining part. Sustaining clients, you need to be very clear with what expectations you're setting. Always draft a scope of work, a very clear scope of work that you send them after the call, because they need to understand what you're going to do. So a very clear scope of work is really important to not have anything against you in the later stages. So having a clear scope of work, number one. Having clear timelines, when is what getting done. So that way, if you have a clear timeline, it becomes really important. Moving ahead to the importance of contracts, there is a lot of importance of contracts. You don't know who the other person is behind the screen. You don't know how they operate. If you have a contract in place, you make yourself more responsible. B, the chances of they also take you more seriously if you have a contract in place, and the chances of frauds decrease. So is there anybody who has tried freelancing and have ended up in any sort of scam or frauds or no payment, something like that? Has that happened with anyone here? No? A lot of people feel this, that have faced it, that they worked with somebody, but then they were denied payment and all. To secure that, you should have contracts in place. Plus, after you're done with your beta clients, always charge at least 50% in advance. At least 50% in advance. And somebody saying, okay, I don't know you and all of that, tell them that we're signing a contract with all of our information in there. Just convince them, but don't work for free. If somebody is forcing you to start with zero advance, that is a red flag. That is a big red flag. Just deny it and move ahead. Don't work. So initially for my first project, I took 25% advance, and from the very next project, I did it 50%. Right now, all our projects are working 100% in advance. Okay, so charge in advance. This happened, but this change happened after we got GST, we got registered and everything. But you can at least have to get somewhere 20 to 50. 50 is like the ideal where you should operate, and 100 is like very good, where you can like get free. And if somebody comes up to you and they say, okay, but why do we do this? So you have to tell them that for us to feel secure as service providers, we need to make sure that we are paid on time. For the first month, you can pay 50% in advance, and the later From the later month, if it is too much for you, you can do 25%, but for the first month, either pay 100% or 50% to like set that relationship and set everything in place, right? So that works. Also do a good background check their socials, check everything about them. If anything looks fishy, I would advise not stepping into that project. A lot of times people mention that we'll start a $10,000 project and then they ghost you. So always do a background check. You should know protecting your rights is important. You should mention that you're in a different time zone and this is your working hours. If you feel that something is not right, talk to people around you, use those forums. You can also message me on LinkedIn if there's a red flag that you're facing with a client, and then it's better to let them go. Because if it is not and don't ignore it. If something odd is happening, address it, confront it, and if it is not getting resolved, you should take an exit, because a lot of freelancers waste their time with the wrong type of client. So you don't have to do that. Okay. So we can even protect the files that we work. So we work on Google Sheet, which is like complete Google documents and everything. Of course, you have access to everything. You're the owner of everything. So if somebody is not paying you after the work is done, you can simply cut the access from the document. That is why we work on Google Sheet only, and I would advise everyone to work on Google Docs, Google Sheets, because that way it is easier to cut the excess if any default in payment or if anything odd happens with the freelancer, right? So that is fine. That you should like maintain. Don't work on MS Office or like Microsoft, because then there is no point. What if given has been gone? So that ways it becomes easier for you. And don't provide edit access immediately if you're not sure what they're going to do to your documents, because this is one thing off topic. A lot of clients change the entire thing. So make sure what sort of access you're providing to the client. Okay, so now we'll come back to the future trends, emerging trends in freelancing, technological impact. What is the preparation for the future? So emerging trends in freelancing is one big trend. The person who has a personal brand will have a bigger portion in the market, because they will reach to more people will know about them. So the entire brand awareness thing will go in their pocket. Sometimes people who have bigger brands have less knowledge than the people who have smaller brands, but that's how it is. They have more business because they are more visible, right? So personal branding is very important. That is one emerging trend. Second, people who are doing bare minimum and not upskilling, not learning the power of AI will be left behind in no time, because it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. So it's better to get your hands on AI and make your job easier, better, more impactful. Third, it's not an emerging trend, but it is a forever trend. If you want to stay in the business for a longer period of time, start impacting the revenue of your clients directly. Start to bring difference in their revenue. If you have designed a landing page for a client which helped them close their $10,000 month, you will of course earn more. So you have to impact the revenue of the client. The impact of technology right now is like okayish, but in no time it is going to be immense, because those basic jobs will all be automated. So if you're smart, if you stand out in your game, in the game that you play, you'll have a very good career. Of course, freelancers are not going anywhere, because you still need a brain even to operate with the AI intern that you have. You need to give prompts, you need to be specific, you need to be human. But the impact on people who are not using their brain will be immense. With the ones who are creative, not that much. In fact, it will be a lot of help and you can actually earn more. Preparing for the future, start learning the power of artificial intelligence in writing and designing and coding and everything. It's not going anywhere. So that's one advice. Get your hands on AI and get more acceptance around that. Common challenges which are faced by the freelancers. Uh, of course, income variability. I have told all the things that you can do in that regard. Getting clients. For that, start passively building a personal brand, and in the forefront, Facebook groups work. This I think Telegram groups also work, although I've never tried. I've tried Facebook groups, have worked for me. Then you can do cold emailing. You can subscribe to a good course on lead generation so that you understand how you can generate leads for yourself. Strategies for overcoming them, I have covered. Now, realistic expectations. Don't just looking at somebody who is writing a LinkedIn post that I made my first 10 lakhs in 3 months of freelancing. That is pure BS. They will never tell you the 3 years that they've spent passively. So differentiate between what expectation you want to set with yourself. Otherwise, you'll just get into that zone of frustration where you feel that everybody else is getting it easy. Believe me, nobody's getting it easy. Everybody has worked hard. I was working from the age of 15 and I was getting knowledge. And then at the age of 21, I finally could set up something that was so rewarding, right? So that 5 years of knowledge, if I cut it and I say, okay, I set up my agency in like 2 months, will that be fair? No. So you have to set up realistic expectation. You have to put in a realistic picture for yourself, paint a real view for yourself, set up real goals. That's very important. So yeah, you can shoot your questions now.
Yeah, ma'am, we have a few questions in the chat if you may. The first one would be, do you recommend any tools or softwares for freelancers to streamline their works?
Yeah, so there are a lot. In what area do you want? So a lot of softwares are there for example, to streamline all my scopes and all my initial proposals. I use Canva. I have segregated everything in Canva. And then I try to regulate and templatize and maintain that in Notion also. Like, I'll find this kind of proposal here, this kind of proposal here. So in what area are you talking about? For invoicing, I have Zoho. So in what area are we talking about?
Yes, ma'am. So just generally like expanding and freelancing basic softwares that we can use as students to go into various domains and just expand them generally also.
Okay. Maintain all your client data in Google Sheet. Get a license if you need. Basically, there's 30 GB they give. If you get a license, you get 100 GB. If you add team members, then also always remember, even as a freelancer, if you're adding a team member, better to buy a Google license. Why? Because they can transfer the document ownership to you. And I think now they have also allowed to transfer it directly. So regardless of anything, get the ownership transferred under your name, because if you're also working with another freelancer and they delete something after they stop working with you, that becomes a huge pain. So Google Suite to maintain the data. Some clients also expect you to work on Notion. So it depends on clients, but most of all my clients are friendly with that. To maintain for invoicing and finances, I use Zoho. It comes handy and it's easy to maintain different types of invoicing systems for Indian and international clients. For maintaining the playbooks and for team training, I use Notion. For communications, we use Slack. For getting the to-dos and everything in place, we use ClickUp. So all of these can be used in free versions by freelancers. That would work. I have also partnered with Feed Coyote, which is a freelancing 360-degree freelancing platform. They give everything that a freelancer needs, so you can check it out. And I think it's a one-stop solution kind of a thing for freelancers. So these are pretty much for invoicing. For sales and marketing, I am not doing a lot of outbound right now because I don't have time. With my inbound leads only, I got caught up. So for sales and marketing, for setting up a meeting Calendly And for getting onto a call, Zoom, of course, I have installed a AI note taker, which helps me with the transcript at the end of the meeting. And yeah, and then talking to clients happens on WhatsApp only, because that's the most easiest way. Some of them get on Slack also. Yeah, this is pretty much it, like for everything. For maintaining, for CRM, we use HubSpot, but since we are not doing a lot of outbound right now, the data is limited. So inbound data can also be maintained manually on Google Sheets. Yeah.
Thank you
So
so much,
these
ma'am.
are a few
We just have
software.
Thank you, ma'am. We just have another question for the same. Do you think freelancing offers as much job security as a traditional 9 to 5 job? And is this really feasible in today's highly volatile and unpredictable market?
Um, so it doesn't give you. I will speak from the from your perspective. So when I started, I did not had a thought of going back to a job. So I had to make it happen, right? I did not have another choice. So it happened for me. But if somebody has a lot of responsibilities and wants to contribute, I think job is more secure, because in that, at least you know, if you're good at something, you can get a hike and you can be placed somewhere else. But if you're young and you can experiment, in 2 years you can cut that insecurity factor. But for the initial 2 years, yes, it is a little bit of an insecure field. But then job is also insecure in the first 2 years. They don't even make you permanent for a long time. They put you in training period and all. So if you can give good 2 years with dedication, I think you can make it more secure and more rewarding than a job. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. The answer is truly insightful. We just have one more question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in your LinkedIn, you mentioned one mistake you would never make as a freelancer, not collaborating with other freelancers. Can you expand on it?
Like, can you please repeat in this or on my LinkedIn post?
On your LinkedIn post, ma'am, you mentioned that one mistake you would never make as a freelancer.
Yeah,
So, expand on it, yeah.
Not collaborating with other freelancers, as in terms, there are two ways of like looking at it. Not collaborating for posts, because see, if you have an audience of 1,000 and somebody else has an audience of 1,000, so you can also interchange your audience by collaborating with them on a post on the platform first. Second, you can also collaborate with them on various projects to make it easier. If somebody is designing well and somebody is good at writing and everything else, then like they can come together and act as a team for a project, because nobody's interested in hiring a writer alone and then hiring a designer. They want a one-stop solution. So collaboration is a power in that case. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So I'll just cover the last part, how personal branding can be a game changer in your freelancing journey. I started in October 2019 and I was not on LinkedIn. A year later, I started LinkedIn. Before that, I took up a course and I started with Facebook groups and everything. But once I started on LinkedIn, I understood that personal branding is going to be the next big thing, and it can change how much you can reach out to people and how well you can get in your freelancing career. So I started, and right now I'm at, I think, 66,000 followers on LinkedIn. And it's not about followers, it's also about the brand recall and the possibility that your brand gives you. You can connect to more people, you can execute meetups, you can call in good quality folks to like talk to you, you can make good friends, you can reach out to people and they answer. I answer a lot of DMs in my like messages and everything. So I think the power of personal branding is immense. If you really want to make your freelancing journey easier, you have to understand and pick a platform which suits your needs and start creating content. That is going to be the next big thing and the most rewarding thing for you in the coming time. So pick a platform and start creating. If you like text, pick Twitter, pick LinkedIn. If you like video, pick YouTube, pick Instagram, because all of these big names in the industry in India right now had a content creation background or started to create content midways, and that's how they became that big. So you need to understand that creating content will give you an edge, will give you an undenied edge in your freelancing business. So you can start with that. Yeah, that's the last point I wanted to add.
Yes, ma'am, we don't have any more questions. Let's moving on to the closing ceremony.
Sure.
As we draw the curtains on this remarkable freelancing workshop, we are confident that the knowledge shared with us today will hold our attendees in good stead for the future. In today's session, Ms.Shubhangi Madan has truly embodied the spirit of life, inspiring and steering us towards our dreams. Her workshop has shed light upon the limitless opportunities that freelancing has to offer. On behalf of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell at St. Xavier's College Autonomous Kolkata, I want to express our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Shubhangi Madan for generously imparting her vast knowledge and experience. It is an absolute honor and privilege to have had the opportunity to host such a respected personality. Ms. Madan's willingness to engage with our audience reflects her dedication to nurturing the next generation. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our esteemed principal, Reverend Dr. Father Dominic Savio, SJ, and Vice Principals, Reverend Dr. Father Joseph Kalendai, SJ, Reverend Dr. Father Peter Arokyum, SJ, and Professor Bertram da Silva for encouraging us to strive for greatness and uphold the prestigious Xaverian name. I would like to thank our faculty advisor, Dr. Arup Kumar Mitra, for his unwavering guidance and support. Our sincere gratitude goes to our attendees for their patience, interactive participation, and their thought-provoking questions. Your engagement made this workshop truly impactful. Lastly, I would like to express my appreciation for the unwavering support, timely implementation, and guidance provided by the members of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell. Your dedication and hard work have been instrumental in the success of the session. We owe this achievement to all of you. Attendees, the short link to the access, both the credit sheet and quiz form, will be shared in the YouTube chat box. So kindly fill the sheet to avail the 4 hours of non-academic credits. For those interested in receiving e-certificates, please make sure to complete the quiz within 15 minutes. Once again, thank you all for joining us at EDC. Wishing you all a pleasant day ahead.